Hi, we're Joel and Lia.
And this video is 3 British habits that Americans hate. So if you've come here from the reverse of this video, American things that Brits hate, we've decided we always balance these out. We make 2 versions because it's only fair. So I'll kick it off with the first one.
Go on then.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. So the first one is our over-apologising.
Yeah.
Constantly saying sorry.
Oh, yeah. And like playing ourselves down as well with
Yeah.
that. Not just literally saying sorry, which we do, but like
Underselling.
Just underselling. If someone's like, are you good at that? We're like, oh, maybe. When
yeah.
we're friggin' amazing at it.
Yeah, and often you'll find that like in companies, say whoever's highest up is the most modest. You know what I mean? Like you always find those like middlemen, like the climbers that are the ones that are just a bit irritating, annoying and difficult
Arrogant.
and oversell themselves, and it's always people at the top that are the nicest.
Oh, definitely.
In my experience, and I'm thinking yours as well.
Like when I've met big A-list celebrities, they are the nicest people. But when I've met like the sort of B-listers, C-listers, they are so arrogant and so horrible. And it's like when you're at the top, you've got nothing to prove. But in terms of everyday, normal, regular people, I think Brits do, apologise a lot for themselves.
You'll find that like Brits find it so hard to write a personal statement, their personal mission statement, their CV, anything that involves selling themselves to perhaps an employer or just for anything. Like it's so hard. Even just writing the description of our channel. What is it? Like it's literally it almost painfully impossible, and I'm sure Americans hate it. I think Americans actually must hate it. Like, you know, when Americans, like, you watch Mel Robbins and you watch people on YouTube that are like, you've got to do this and you've got to be amazing and you've got to know how good you are and how much you're worth, and you're like
it just makes Brits
so
uncomfortable,
hard to deal with.
But you must hate it because it's like Americans must be like, just get it together, like just tell me, who are you? What do you do? Sell yourself. Be proud of what you've achieved. Yeah. Like, be confident. But Brits are just like...
confidence thing. Yeah, it's so... I'd much rather someone else sell me for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how Americans feel about that. But, like, if Joel was sitting here being like, hi, I'm Joel. I'm a really good actor. I'm really good at serious... I can do these kind of roles. These are what I'm good at. Like, that makes me cringe. Yeah. It makes him cringe as well. But if I was his agent and I was like, you've got to see Joel... He's this, and this. He's really good at that. I believe the other person. Yeah.
But if it's you that's saying it about yourself, that's suddenly not okay in the UK.
Yeah. And I think Americans got no problem selling themselves and wearing their heart on their sleeve and just being bold.
Yeah. I think it was Hugh Grant when he first went to LA for pilot season or for auditions. He had just done like 101 Dalmatians, which was a huge film here in the UK, like a massive, massive deal with Glenn Close, whatever. He said like he went to an audition there and they were like, oh, so you're like quite big in the UK. This was before House, by the way, before he exploded in America. Like, oh, so you're quite big in the UK. You've done some good films out there. And he was like, oh, sort of like I've kind of done like a small film, like 101 Dalmatians, which was massive. But he was like, just a small film. And they were like, oh, okay. And then like moved on to the next question. Like, so it's just a different... They expected him to come into the room and be like, yeah, I did this huge film with Glenn Close, like it you know, box office hit. It was amazing. I was one of the lead roles. Yeah. But Brits don't do that. And I remember that he was giving an interview and he was like, when you come to America, you've just got to sell yourself. You've just got to, you know, not care about being arrogant. You've just got to do it.
So interesting, isn't it? Because he probably went into the room thinking like, okay, they probably know who I am, so I don't really need to say it. Yeah. So I'll just go in and do my best work. Yeah. But they're probably just thinking like, no, tell me the facts. Yeah. Otherwise, I will take what you say on face value.
Because he probably wanted them to go, oh no, it must have been a big deal. Like, tell me more. But
like a Brit would.
Yeah.
They try and eke it out of you, but you'll try and undersell it. You'll be like, yeah, I did this thing. Like, even musicians, I know people that are doing so well, smashing it, and they're just like, yeah, just released my first thing, and like, it's going really well. When they're like, doing like unbelievably really well.
Brits do need to be a bit more like that, and I think we are slowly getting like that. Lots of Brits watch like American motivational coaches, and I think we're trying to be a bit more Americanized.
We can take a leaf out of your book, is what we're saying. Yeah. Well, we've rinsed that one. So the next one.
So the next one is an obvious British stereotype, and it's very true, that we drink too much. And we've talked a lot about drinking on our channel, and lots of comments from Americans just saying that it's terrible how much we drink, and like alcohol is terrible and you should be teetotal, not even have a little bit, but you should drink no alcohol. And that's just very foreign to Brits. Like, you'd be very hard pressed to find a Brit who doesn't drink anything. Like, we don't drink much,
And the only people that would be like that would be ones who've had a problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Wouldn't it?
If someone's teetotal, you'd just assume that they've had a problem in the past with alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol does have its downsides, I'm sure, but I'm also sure it has its plus sides. I'm sure that people have said that having a glass of red wine every day like boosts something.
Yeah, it
Prevents
gives
cancer or something.
something like that. I mean, it does bring Brits out of their shell. It allows them to be
Yeah.
more American.
That's probably why.
Of course it is. You'll be hard pressed to find a Brit that's not drinking when the sun's out.
Tell them what you thought when we went for that night out.
So Joel and I were on a night out. We were actually on a job. We were being paid to drink. That's going to set a few
Best
of them
job
off.
ever, yeah.
And Joel was like loose. Let's use that word, loose. So it's not drunk, it's just loose.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he gave no shit. He just was dancing everywhere, just like being really bold and talking, just saying whatever. And like we were in public and he just sort of just being his best self, just living his truest best self. And he was like, I wish I was drunk all the time, or acting in that way. And I was like, I wish you were too. Genuinely, it would just make life so much easier.
Because so often like, for example, if there was a drink or something that I didn't like, I'd be like, oh, I really want to change it. But Leah will be like, give it to me, I'll go and change it.
Yeah.
Not drunk, completely sober, and be like, excuse me, can we get a new one of this? And that'll make me like die inside.
Yeah.
But after I've had a few drinks, I was just like, didn't care
Yeah,
about
you
saying
didn't
anything to
care.
anyone. Just like, wow.
Yeah, life was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't care. Just stop caring.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's what we all of us Brits can learn a bit. And that's what drink helps with, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if we can all take a little bit of what we are when we're drunk
Yeah.
and inject that into our normal life and live that way, we wouldn't need the drink.
No, we wouldn't. And then we could be teetotal.
Yeah. I remember being at a party once, completely sober, having the best time. And someone came up to me and was like, what are you on? Like, what have you taken / what are you drinking? I want some of it. And I was like, just water.
Just life.
I was just having the best time.
But that's the thing. We do have so much fun even when we're sober.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no real need for it. But maybe... So getting back to why that annoys Americans, why do you think that is?
I think maybe because obviously the drinking age is a bit older.
Yeah.
So drink doesn't come into your life really until you're that little bit older.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they rely on it socially.
Yeah, and because Brits rely on it socially, if they're abroad, Brits abroad have the worst reputation
For booze.
getting drunk, like throwing up, being sick, being loud and leery and everything. So I think because of that probably is a negative of it, because Brits are overcompensating because they're shy in real life, but when they're drunk they're like whereas Americans are just like that all the time, so they're like, I don't need to get drunk all the time.
Yeah, and for an American to go out drinking, like, you can't just sit in the pub all night. It'd be quite an expensive night, wouldn't it, to sit in a bar all night drinking, like, whereas pubs it's just a little bit more drink, cash, whereas if Americans are going out for a drink, maybe it's like it's a sophisticated night in some way.
Yeah who knows let us know in the comments. Also, let us know in the poll, in the cards, if you're American, vote in the poll up above whether you drink or whether you don't, because it'll be really interesting to see just how many of you guys are like, don't drink any alcohol or do drink alcohol.
We've got American fans that really endorse our Prosecco drinking and help fund it.
Yeah, we love
So
it.
we're just really grateful for that. So if anyone wants to buy us Prosecco, we've actually disguised it as a coffee. So if you do want to help us, you can there.
Coffee / sound equipment.
Sound equipment. So the last thing that we do that annoys Americans is we really enjoy the misfortune of others. It's a German word for it. English don't actually have a word for this in their dictionary. It's Schadenfreude. We bloody love it. And it's so evil. It's like a dark pleasure we have. Like, we were sitting there the other day and there was a row of wet sunbeds that the rain had just soaked. We were on the side where all of the sunbeds were dry and there was a pool in the middle. And every time someone walked past those wet sunbeds, you couldn't tell they were soaking.
No, unless you touched it.
Unless you touched it, because we almost sat on them. And every time someone went past, we'd see them like nearly go to sit down and test it, and we'd be like, "No, sit down, please sit down." Then someone did,
and it was
so
good.
funny. Like, they sat down.
He sat down. We were giggling, and we were like, "It's going to kick in any minute." It's good because he sat down and he jumped.
And he jumped up. It was like, because it's wet, and he had a big wet patch on his bum. And we were.
It was so good.
In our element, we loved it.
And I could tell that, like, certain types of Americans, obviously not everyone, I'm sure that lots of you enjoy the dark pleasures like we do, but I'm sure that some Americans would have waved to him and be like, no, don't sit down, it's wet. Whereas Brits are like, sit down.
we were literally like this, whispering to each other. Oh my god, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Watch it. Any second.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
of course, we're not gonna shout over the pool to him.
know.
Like, watch out, that's
It's
soaking.
yeah, no.
No.
I want to see him jump up, be sad that he's got a wet bum,
Yeah.
and like have to get changed. Like,
Yeah.
what is it about us that likes watching people hurt themselves, fall over? Also, if you've
Do you
got...
remember You've Been Framed?
Oh, that
Oh,
was
it was a whole
so
TV
good.
show about people like falling over and stuff.
Yeah.
Fails. It was like people failing at
So
life
good.
and like us just laughing at
Brits
it.
just love it, and I think it's in my family as well. My mum finds it hysterical when people hurt themselves, to the extent where she'll record it on the TV and play it back to me when I go home to visit, to be like, look at this, this person fell over on the news. Like, it was snowing and a woman fell off onto her bum and like really like broke her coccyx, had to go to hospital, killing herself in hysterics, like crying with laughter. And I'm like, Mum, why do you find this funny?
Why do you find it so funny?
But we do, we just love it.
So I don't know. I guess that Americans must find that quite weird / annoying that we do get a lot of pleasure.
Oh, yeah. If Leah fell over in the street, my first reaction would be to laugh, and then it would be like, oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe Americans would be the other way around. They'd be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And then maybe they'd laugh about it afterwards once they know that they're okay.
Yeah. Depends on the slip. Like,
oh, yeah.
So I always stack it. I always wear like platforms and I just stack, like my ankles just go. And we both just laugh at it.
Yeah.
But then when it's like to the point of danger and to the point, well, for Joel, the brand, I could break my leg and then he's out of work and, what I mean? So when it's different with me because it directly affects each other.
Yeah.
But it's funny. We do laugh at it. We laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah, we do. And that's another thing that we do, linked onto sort of humour. We really enjoy making fun of ourselves. We Brits have like
self-deprecating humour.
Yeah, an amazing ability to just make fun of themselves, be really self-deprecating and...
Yeah, I know. And whereas I feel like the American way of doing that thing just doesn't really exist. It's more like, let's celebrate ourselves rather than like, let's take the piss out of ourselves and laugh at how we are.
Yeah, which is great, which is another thing, like we said, that we're learning to do. But yeah, at the same time, like, Brits just make fun of themselves all the time.
So we said about this a while ago in a video on our channel. We'll link it in the cards. It's all about British comedy. We compare things like Miranda, which is a TV show in the UK by Miranda Hart, which is extremely self-deprecating, to a different sort of female-led comedy show like Girls, which is all about sort of celebrating who you are, which is American, by Leonard Dunham. And we just sort of explored this whole idea and why we are this way compared to the way Americans are, because we find it really interesting. And we're just sort of, that's how we're brought up. It's just in our blood.
Oh, definitely. Because I feel like Miranda is sort of like, oh, I'm fat and clumsy and like, oh, look at me, I'm stupid. Whereas in Girls, she might have the similar sort of thing, like, look at me, I'm fat and whatever, but I'm amazing and I'm powering through life. Whereas Miranda was very much like, oh, what, I'm a klutz.
Yeah,
do you know what I
definitely.
mean?
I think those two are the perfect examples of like British humour, American humour.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll link that if you are interested in watching that.
Also, can I just do a side note? When I'm saying fat, I'm not being mean myself. Like, Miranda refers to herself in the show as being like plus size, fat, loads of fat jokes in it. So I'm not being mean.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to point it out.
Yeah, I do, because it could, like, when you've edited it, chopped it together, it can take things out of context a bit. So let us know down in the comments if you relate to any of those things. I'm sure there are lots of you Americans watching this that actually think you're more like Brits in this way. So let us know which side you sort of relate to more.
And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. We post videos every 3 times a week, really.
Yeah.
So please join the club and switch on that bell for some notifications.
Definitely, and we'll see you next time.
And that's so painful to sell ourselves
I
in
know.
that moment.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
hard every time.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Links in the description if you want to know what we're wearing. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm going to burp, hang on.
Right into the mic.
Oh, it's a silent one.
Lovely.